In this video we show the workflow of using not placed objects and relationships. We start with this sample drawing where we want to add a gear, motor and an instrument to the pump. We close the project for now and open the project in PlantDataManager. The features shown in this video work for collaboration projects as well. What are not placed objects anyway? Not placed objects are objects which exist only in the PNID project database where they will stay. We call them non-graphical not placed objects. But you can also insert them into drawings. We call them graphical not placed objects, because their purpose is to be inserted into the drawings at some point. When inserting a graphical not placed object, a dialog opens where you can select the class of the symbol you want to add. The classes shown in the dialog are only the classes which have a symbol. Instead of going through the class structure, you can filter the classes. Now we select the electric motor and click on Add and Close. You can also use a double click or the Add button to add not placed objects without closing the dialog. When the dialog gets closed, we must select a drawing to which the not placed object gets assigned to. We now see the motor in a light green color. In the Properties palette we added the tag. If we switch to Drawing Data View and select one single drawing and now add a gear, there will be no dialog asking us which drawing the not placed object should be assigned to, because this is clear because we selected just one drawing. Now we added the tag of the gear and we get a conflict message. PlantDataManager not only checks a given tag against the tags used in the drawings, but also against other not placed objects. Of course, not placed objects can be deleted if needed. You can also change a graphical not placed object into a non-graphical not placed object. Remember, those are the ones which later cannot be inserted into drawings. The non-graphical not placed objects appear in light blue. And we convert it back because we want to insert the gear later into the drawing. When you create not placed objects, you can create them already with a relationship to an owner. For that we use add owned not placed object with graphics. The same dialog opens as before, where we now filter for instruments and select the class of choice. There will be no dialog asking us about the drawing, because the new not placed object uses the same drawing as the owner, in this case the gear. In the relationship panel we now see the instrument under the gear. We added the tag for the instrument as well. If we look at the relationship panel, we see that the gear appears under the instrument in bold. This means that the gear is the owner of the instrument. Next we create a non-graphical not placed object for the instrument. Again we filter for instruments. The new instrument appears in light blue because it is a non-graphical not placed object. We can select it and type in the properties for the tag. If we select the gear, we can now see the two instruments under each other with their relationships. With the Control key we select the motor as well. We can now move the instrument to the motor, and then the motor with its two instruments to the gear. If we select the gear again, to get rid of all the other objects in the relationship panel, we can expand the tree to show the relationship between the objects. If we now also select the pump, we can move the gear to the pump. Selecting the pump alone, we see everything under the pump. Not placed objects will also be exported, where we can then edit the data and import the changes back into PlantDataManager. The changes for the placed objects, the symbols in the drawings, will be shown in yellow as always. The imported changes for not placed objects are not shown with a background color, because the changes have an immediate effect on the objects, since the objects don't need to be updated in the drawings. Now we are closing the project and mark the changes as ready for import. When we open the project in Plant 3D, we get a notification about pending not placed object tasks. You can execute the tasks when opening the project or when opening a drawing. In this case, the PlantDataManager plugin will open the drawings for which not placed objects or relationships were defined. Since we made changes to the tags of the equipment symbol in the drawing, PlantDataManager plugin will also ask us if we want to review these changes. We can now review these changes as always and accept those changes. Let's open the project again in PlantDataManager to see what happened. The light green and light blue colors change to darker colors. The reason for this is that the previously created not placed objects were stored only in some temporary files, whereas now they are in the project database. By the way, the colors can be defined in the settings. Selecting the pump again still shows us the relationships as before, now just with the darker colors. We close the project again and go back to Plant 3D. In PlantDataManager plugin, we switch to the GNPO tab, which stands for Graphical Not Placed Objects. Right-clicking on the not placed objects allows you to finally insert them into your drawing. We start with the gear, then the motor, and finally the instrument. While inserting the not placed objects, the list gets shorter and shorter until the list is empty. The second instrument does not appear because it was defined as a non-graphical not placed object. To complete the drawing, we add some leader lines between the symbols. After saving the drawing, we go back to PlantDataManager one final time. Now all the green graphical not placed objects have been turned into regular placed objects and are therefore black. Only the non-graphical not placed objects remain. The relationships from the beginning are still there. Not placed objects can be used in reports when using Plant Reporter as well. You can see and edit them also through Plant 3D's Data Manager. If you have more questions, we refer you to our online documentation for more details. Or just send us an email.